what we consume with our eyes, ears, and consciousness. The consumption of cultural items is also linked to anger. Therefore, developing a strategy for consuming is very important. What we read in magazines, what we view on televisions can also be toxic. It may also contain anger and frustration. A film is like a piece of beef steak. It can contain anger. If you consume it, you are eating anger. You are eating frustration. Newspaper article and even conversations can contain a lot of anger. You may feel lonely sometimes and want to talk to someone. In 1 hour of conversations, the other person's words may poison you with a lot of toxins. You may ingest a lot of anger, which you will expect later on. That is why mindful consumption is very important. When you listen to the news, when you read a newspaper article, when you discuss something with others, are you ingesting the same kind of toxins that you ingest when you eat unmindfully? There are those who take refuge in eating to forget their sorrow and their depression. Overeating can create difficulties for the digestive system, contributing to the arising of anger. It can also produce too much energy. If you do not know how to handle this energy, it can become the energy of anger, of sex, and of violence. When you eat well, we can eat less. We need only half the amount of food we can eat every day. To eat well, we should choose our food about 50 times before we swallow. When we eat very slowly and make the food in our mouth into a kind of liquid, we will absorb much more nutrition through our intestine. If we eat well, we choose our food carefully, we get more nutrition, and if we eat a lot but don't digest it well. Eating is a deep practice. When I eat, I enjoy every morsel of my food. I am aware of the food, aware that I am eating. We can practice mindfulness of eating. We know what we are chewing, and we chew our food very carefully and with a lot of joy. From time to time, we stop chewing and get in touch with the friends, family, or Shanghai community of practitioners around it. We appreciate that it is wonderful to be sitting here chewing like this, not worrying about anything. When we eat mindfully, we are not eating or chewing our anger, our anxiety, or our projects. We are chewing the food prepared lovingly by others. It is very pleasant. When the food in the mouth becomes almost liquefied, you experience its flavor more intensely and the food tastes very, very good. You may want to try chewing like this today. Be aware of each movement of your mouth. You will discover that the food tastes so delicious. It may only be bread without any butter or jelly at all. It's wonderful. Perhaps you will also have some milk. I never drink milk. I chew milk. When I put a piece of bread into my mouth, I chew for a while in a mindfulness, and then I take a spoonful of milk. I put it in my mouth and I continue to chew it with awareness. You don't know how delicious it can be just chewing some milk and some bread. When the food has become liquid, fixed with your saliva, it is half digested already. So when it arrives in your stomach and intestines, the digestions become extremely easy. Much of the nutrition in the bread and milk will be absorbed into our body. You get a lot of joy and freedom during the time you chew. When you eat like this, you will naturally eat less. When you serve yourself, be aware of your eyes. Don't trust them. It is your eyes that push you to take too much food. You don't need so much if you know how to eat mindfully and joyfully. You become aware that you need only half the amount that your eyes tell you to take. Please try it. Just chewing something very simple like zucchini, carrot, bread, and milk may turn out to be the best meal of your life. It's wonderful. Many of us in the Plum Village, our practice center in France, have experienced this kind of eating, chewing very mindfully, very slowly. Try eating like this. It can help you to feel much better in your body and therefore in your spirit, in your consciousness. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. We have to empower our eyes with the energy of mindfulness so that we can know exactly what amount of food we really need. The Chinese term for the arm bowls used by the monk or nun means the instrument for the appropriate measure. We use this kind of bowl to protect us from being deceived by our eyes. If the food comes to the top of the bowl, we know that it is largely sufficient. We take only that amount of food. We can eat like that. We can afford to buy less. When you buy less food, you can afford to buy organically grown food. This is something that we can do alone or in our family. It will be tremendous support for farmers who want to make a living growing organic food. All of us need a diet based on our willingness to love to serve, a diet based on our intelligence, the 5 mindfulness training the way out of suffering for the world and for each of us as individuals. Looking deeply at the way we consume is the practice of the 5th mindfulness training. This mindfulness training concerns the practice of mindful consumption, of following a diet that can liberate us and liberate our society. Because we are aware of the suffering, because by unmindful consumption, we make the commitment to cultivate the good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindfulness eating, drinking, and consuming. I vow to ingest only items that preserve peace, well-being, and joy in my body, in my consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family and society. I am determined not to use alcohol and any other intoxicant or ingest food or other item that contain toxins, such as certain TV programs, magazines, books, films, and conversations. If you want to take care of your anger, your frustration, and your despair, you might consider living according to this mindfulness training. If you drink alcohol mindfully, you can see that it creates suffering. The intake of alcohol causes disease to the body and the mind, and the death on the road. Making the alcohol also involves creating suffering. The use of the grain in its production is linked to the lack of food in the world. Mindfulness of eating and drinking can bring us this liberating insight. Discuss a strategy of mindful consumption with the people you love, with a member of your family, even if you are still young. Children can understand this, so they should participate in such discussions. Together, you can make decisions about what to eat, what to drink, what television programs to watch, what to read, and what kind of conversation to have. This strategy is for your own protection. We cannot speak about anger and how to handle our anger without paying attention to all the things that we consume, because anger is not separate from these things. Talk to your community about a strategy of mindful consuming in the Plum Village. We try our best to protect ourselves. We try not to consume things that nurture our anger, frustration, and fear. To consume more mindfully, we need to regularly discuss what we eat, how we buy less, and how to have higher quality food, both edible and the food we consume through our senses.